2033, you're going to be 32, 33?
34.
34.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't
there.
think, and it's hard. I don't really plan for the future that far ahead, but I don't think I'll be playing pickleball after 30. Yeah.
Really? Why? Okay, wait. Why do you say that?
Because I like unique experiences. I like doing different things. And as fun as pickleball is, as fun as it is to be a professional athlete, you are doing a lot of the same thing.
Okay.
Doing that for 6 more years seems like a good amount of time. Doing it after that, like, I don't know when exactly I'm going to be like, all right, I've had enough of this, but I think there are bigger and better things out in the world.
Sure. Like what? What are you going to go do?
We're going to go play paddle tennis.
You never know.
Thursday.
I mean, yeah, we're going to play padel soon. That'll be fun. But, I really like business. I like people. I like managing companies, or I like talking about rules and mechanical testing. And I just have a ton of interests where I could be doing any number of things. And those things could definitely interest me more than pickleball after I've played pickleball for, say, 10 years. Like, I've been playing this since I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, when I get to 27, that'll be a decade.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to spend your entire life doing it? Obviously not. So when does that stop?
All right, so will that be good for the game or bad for the game that, the pickleball's GOAT decides, you know what? I'm burnt out. I want to go do something
I think
else.
it's a very liberal application of the word GOAT, because you'll have a new GOAT in
okay,
not that many years.
Do the humble thing, and then answer the question.
I don't think it'll affect the game one way or the other.
Here's why I ask, because I think some people's criticism right now is like, you're just going to win everything. When you're in the draw, you win. Same thing with Anna Lee. That tends to be repetitive and boring. So I guess the question kind of boils down to: Are you good for the game of pickleball right now? You bad for the game of pickleball?
Good question. I think it's just you're playing pickleball with a super small sample size of players. The number of pros that are seriously doing this full time might be 50 on each side, if that. Like, it's so small. And anytime you saturate a sport more with a bigger sample size, it's going to be harder and harder for anybody to dominate. So naturally, that will decline. Whether it's good for the game or not to have that, I think it's good now. It presents like a challenge, and it's something interesting to follow. I think a lot of people want to see me lose or Anna Lee lose, and that's fine. I think that's great. It creates some story.
Not necessarily that, but just other people win.
For sure, yeah. And I think that'll just naturally happen more and more as you get more players. Yeah, and I think that's the natural evolution of a sport. I think it was easier for Babe Ruth to be the best when it was baseball in whatever 1920s. Or when did Babe Ruth play? Anybody know?
No, I don't know, dude.
I think that's accurate.
1920s. I'll say 1920s. But yeah, you have your Babe Ruth still. That everyone was just like, Babe Ruth was amazing, but it's like, yeah, smaller sample size, it's easier to be better. Natural evolution. That's it.
And I think games get more competitive over time, right? Even if you look at something like tennis. There's your example of like, okay, Nadal is probably going to win the French, but not always, right? I would say that you're about as dominant as Nadal is on clay. I'm serious. So like,
I think his percentage is better than mine.
But like, what's your percentage chance of winning a given event? It's probably
me versus the field.
Yeah.
In any given one right now, 70 to 80.
Okay, so Nadal's what? He was like 11 for 14 on French Opens, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean that's about Nadal on clay level.
Let's go.
But
Rafa. I'm just Rafa, except my sample size is 1,000 times smaller. Let's go. Big fish in a small
I don't
pond.
know. Your sample size can be larger because you've got a lot more tournaments under your belt, and Rafa's got 14 French Opens or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
I don't
Rafa,
know.
I'm better than you. I've said it.
There we go. Get him on. Well, we're gonna get, dude. We got to get Rafa on the pod.
Oh,
Ben
Rafa.
Johnson.
That'll be
he's
easy.
better than you.
I'll just text him.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
But I totally forgot where I was gonna go with that.
I know where I was going to go. So you did the humble thing. I don't know if I'm the GOAT, but like, I think pretty objectively at this point, you would be considered the greatest of all time.
Currently.
Give me a counter argument. You're just saying that in the future, anything could change.
It changes very quickly
Yeah.
because you're at such a infancy of any sport. I just think that the term is not just in pickleball, but it's liberally applied in so many scenarios.
But somebody has to be
comical.
the GOAT, regardless of how much time there has been.
Up to this point, and I think that pickleball will change rapidly enough to where 10 years down the road, somebody theoretically should, become the new GOAT.
Yeah.
Although I will say, it's harder to pass somebody like Babe Ruth so many MLB or baseball references in this episode. I don't know why, but it's harder to pass Babe Ruth because he was so dominant in a time where it was easier to be dominant. That's what makes